When we talk about slow and simple living, it implies that we are stepping back away from something, stepping back from consumerism. Now, there are countries all over the globe that would aspire to our kind of consumerism and wealth. People living in abject poverty want this. Do you think that countries living in abject poverty, if they experienced the wealth and consumerism of some Western societies, do you think that over time it would evolve? Do you think that over time that their mindset would be the same as ours? Do you think that they would also eventually, or a faction of those, would eventually want to step back from the consumerism and go into a slow, simpler lifestyle, a bit more like the one they've come from? So there's this abject poverty, and then there is wealth and gluttony. And we want to step back from the wealth and gluttony, but obviously we're still within a Western civilization, so we don't want to step back into poverty. We're still very, very wealthy in some ways. So we're stepping back and we're setting up camp somewhere before it all drops off into abject poverty. We will step back and then stop and set up camp before we start suffering from hardship, which is fine, which is human nature, which is what we want to do and what we should do. There's nobody wants to subject themselves to hardship unless they have to. We aren't anything special, we're just an ever-growing group in society who've realised that wealth and consumerism and materialism all comes at a cost. Now, talking about that coming at a cost, I want to talk briefly about something now that it's like, think about this before you go down the road towards wealth or go down the road towards a simple life. I'm not trying to teach my grandma to suck eggs, because most of you will have thought about this. But I think it is something to take into consideration at any point in your life. When you get away from consumerism and materialism and start living a slower, simpler life with less material things in your life, imagine a line here, and that's the bottom. I don't own very much. I live a simple life. I'm about here. Now imagine you decide to get a mortgage. Now nowadays the mortgages are a ridiculous commitment and very difficult to get. See, a mortgage, you buy yourself a nice car, you take your family on nice holidays, it's all great, it's all there, it's all for you. If you want to do it, it's your own decision. But you're then in debt. You are there. So when something happens to me, and it did happen, I lost a business, a small business, but I was living on a boat at the time. I was living very simply with not a lot of goods, but living a very, very, very happy life. And I had a series of heart attacks and lost my business, but I hadn't got much to begin with. So I went, boom. It was difficult, and it cost me a lot of heartache and stress, but I still managed to carry on. And over the years, I've managed to drag myself back up, and I'm here again. If you're here and anything goes wrong, if the main breadwinner can't work anymore, if redundancy comes along, if you've got a business and you lose that, you go like that. Bang! All the way down there. Your debt's still there. The holidays you pay for in your credit card, your car's still there, your mortgage is still there, you aren't earning. What do? The stress must be incredible. So where do you want to be? Do you want to be there? Or do you want to be there? Bang! And I think that is something we need to think about when we start taking on commitment in life, financial commitment, automatically, just because it's what society tells us to do. Adverts on the television, mortgages, buy this, cars, EVs that are now so expensive that the normal person struggles to buy one. And we don't know what the future of those is anyway. But before you start all this consumerism, all you get on adverts on the television basically is trying to take your money off you. It's cars, mortgages, holidays, buy, 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 white goods, buy, buy, buy. And it's resisting that and being there and not there. It's great being up there. You can live a great life, holidays, cars, everything you want, out meals, restaurants, spend that money, work more to make that money, hope that nothing goes wrong, but it might do, then you go bang. Whereas we go, oh, better pick myself up again. And that's one of the benefits. So before you take on massive commitment, just take that into consideration. Now, I'm obviously not saying don't get a mortgage and don't get a nice car. Get a mortgage by all means. I mean, yes, you must get a mortgage if you possibly can. But then again, don't overstretch yourself. Don't be tempted to just, it's the old adage, isn't it? Don't be tempted to live beyond your means. Do you need that extra couple of bedrooms? Would you be happy in something a little bit smaller? Do you need that big four-wheel drive? Would you be happy? Could you cope with something a bit smaller? How important is that to you? So what I'm not saying don't do these things. All I'm saying is don't overreach yourself. And you even may find in time that after years of consumerism and years of being on the treadmill, you may decide that, yeah, I want to just live a bit simpler, live a bit cheaper, live a bit slower. There's like no downside that I can see to that. The only downside is in not having the materials, not having the goods. How important is that to you? They bring pleasure, they don't bring happiness. And I think at the end of the day, happiness is the most important thing. It's a cool day here today, but the birds are singing, you can probably hear them. Molly's at the side of me here. And we're just going to see what the day brings. We shall see you on the flip. Peace and love.